Yeah, I was so skeptical at the beginning, Corey. I thought you were going to scam me. Like, oh no, what am I getting myself into?
You increase your base salary just by making this move by $18,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not even including OTE potential. What do you predict for yourself in like year 1 and then year 2 in terms of OTE?
It's uncapped. So we could be making base plus base for essentially at the end of the day 90 plus 90, and that's not including your quarterly bonuses, which they've offered out here, which are substantial every month. You also get a bonus if you meet your target, exceed your target, meet it. Yeah.
Love it. It's interesting because I reviewed your offer, and one of the key things that stuck out to me was at the end of the offer it says your office equals the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to meet you and shake your hand, brother, give you a hug, because yeah, honestly, like you've made a huge difference in my life here, and it's so interesting. And I get to tell my parents, I told you so, I didn't get scammed.
Perfect, Matt. So welcome, man. So again, like this is really, for me, I mean, we did discuss before, but this is really the coolest part for me is to be able to sit down with you and talk about your journey from where you were and essentially what happened being a part of our partner of us at James University. But before we get into everything, like for anybody who's watching, can you just introduce yourself real quick? Like who is Matt and what do you do?
Of course, yeah. Well, I'm Matt. I live in British Columbia, and I work in corporate sales and have worked in corporate sales and account management for many years. And I have gone through not too many roles. I've been pretty loyal to the companies that I've worked for, but I did find that I was starting to burn out in one of the more recent roles that I was in. I found that this was about the beginning of at the beginning of this year, I would say 2025, where I was still in my role, but the role just wasn't the role that I was originally attached to. It wasn't the job and the environment that I'd originally attached to when I signed on for the role. And so just through being online, doing my detective work online of trying to figure out, hey, what's the next step for me? Do I want to just start, beating down on LinkedIn and just sending out those DMs and really just potentially burning myself out even further? I looked over my options, and really by chance, I think I stumbled upon your profile here, Corey, and I'm so happy I did.
Love it.
It's definitely, it's made a world of a difference for me, and it brought me kind of to the spot where we are here, but at the beginning, it brought me to a spot, it put me in a place where I was able to really sort of regroup. And that is what Matt needed, to talk in the third person.
Got it.
I needed to figure it out.
Yeah, I love it, man. And did we know each other beforehand? Just like we're not neighbors or anything like that?
No. So that's something that for me, and I'm sure anybody else watching this, I can say to you that I do not know Corey at all, and I did not know Corey, and that was a problem for me. That was something that I was, as anybody would be, suspect about. I was like, what's going on? This guy's so approachable. He's so professional. He's saying all the right things, and really he's got a great looking program. But I think it's human nature for us to think, the worst of a situation based on it being off, say, Instagram or social media or a platform where somebody is selling a professional service online. But I can tell you straight up that was something that washed away quite quickly. That feeling of doubt, the insecurity about the program. There's a lot of programs that people are touting out there, and once I got to chatting with you, Corey, I realized quickly that there were many avenues that I could find out the legitimacy of the program, and the program itself started to speak for itself. If that makes sense. But really, no, we didn't know each other at all, and I wanted to figure out more and more and more. And you guys were very upfront when you were courting me, essentially, to become a prospective client to your consulting work, and that really, for me, putting in that effort before I signed up really made a world of a difference. Helped me let my guard down, because I was looking to make an investment in my future, and it is going to be an investment in anybody's future if they want to step up and make a change, but it's going to be a worthwhile one for sure.
Yeah.
And it ended up being for me, definitely.
Love it. I love it. I love the word courting.
Yes. Well, I certainly, I almost looked at it like, as a courting situation, and we had a couple chaperones on the ride, and certainly I wasn't an easy date to start, and I definitely grilled you, I think, a few times. I think I remember one point in the conversation, I think early on Instagram, where I think I was like, oh, okay, well, you guys didn't answer that question quite as I had thought you would, and for that reason I'm out. And I thought that I was some like big wig here sitting on Dragon's Den or something like that, like, like just like profiling a company and just really like saying, like, hey, I'm making a decision here. But no, then the way that you guys handled objections when it came down to it that I had, or as I said, doubts, because like I said, I've never met you. I don't know you from Jack. So for anybody making a big decision for their life, especially when it comes to their career, you guys having that professionalism to the utmost really, really, and the process that you used really helped acquiesce this whole situation.
I love it. Cool, man. And so, I appreciate that. It's good to be honest, right? Because there is a lot. It's a weird space online. And I don't take any offense to that, right? Our goal is always to prove our value, and that's normal in a business. So I appreciate you mentioning that to anybody who's watching, because it's definitely, people feel that, and it's normal. So thank you. And so you mentioned that like you had a base in your past role, but like the product wasn't necessarily the best, I guess, if we can sum it up, or it was a tough time for that industry. Yeah. What was your base in your past role? Do you mind me asking that?
Yep, of course. So I came in at 72K, and that for me was acceptable. I took the role thinking that I would be able to buff that out and really build that up with the on-target earnings, OTE, and any other comp that would come along with that. And hence why I mentioned a little bit of the snake oil analogy before, because I was basically, I wasn't as briefed and I wasn't as prepared and wasn't as supported when I took this role as I have been with the James University program here, in terms of looking at all aspects of the company and doing a little bit more due diligence that sometimes, we just miss. You naturally miss, and you just don't think about asking certain questions. And that's something that I think that, that's something I'll take accountability for as me who stepped into that role. But that 72K base was supposed to quickly turn into way over 100K. And it was supposed to at least be there, up around that area gradually within the year as we ramp up. And it just wasn't happening. And I think I'd mentioned to you before, Corey, by the end of my tenure with that company, which a lot of companies do these days, is I was experiencing clawbacks, and potential clawbacks, other clawbacks if I would have continued to work there. But I got a clawback on one of my sales, I remember, right at the end there. And so it started with one, and it would have moved on to others if I would have continued working there. And so making the transition, and just the situation that happened at the end with the buyout was a natural yes to me, because it empowered me to go and take that money and make the decision to jump on with you guys and maybe have a little more diligence when it came to sorting out and sourcing roles moving forward for the next one.
Love it. So, I mean, now that we have a good overview of sort of where you were at, right? Like what's cool and I'm sure what's interesting for anybody who's watching this is what happened after joining James University, right? Like you were at 72,000 base with minimal OT potential. And now what happened next, right? That's where I want to go to next. So before we dive into that, what was the experience like for you working with myself and the executive team?
Yeah. I will say from the get-go, it was great. And that sounds a little cheesy. That sounds a little just, like I can just say that, but it's just the way it was. You guys were of the utmost professionalism from the get-go, empowering the utmost professionalism from the get-go, really, and showing that and proving that out. And it's something that you were hopeful for, and you would love that experience with every company you work with, whether it be a consulting company or going down to the grocery store to get groceries. But when it comes to something more high level like this, you really want to feel like you're getting a return on your investment if you are going to go into the executive program. And you guys shone through with true colors from the get-go. Lucy has been amazing at really just managing out the private channel that I have, the accountability channel, and keeping me on track, essentially, just with the reminders of what interviews I have when, which seems like it could be easy, but by the end of our stint here, we were looking at some days where I was doing 3 different interviews, 3 different times, couple different time zones, and that sort of account management that she performed on the back end was just next level. And
sorry to interrupt you there, but that's the funny part, right? It's like, most people struggle to ever hear back from a company, and you're speaking about having somebody manage your agenda because there's too many interviews.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, honestly, like the way that it started out with joining you guys, it was something where I was in that mode already of being at a job and being held accountable to meetings, demos, time slots, time management. But the big portion that I want to stress on is that the big part of this, really, especially with joining, was that you guys helped keep me accountable in times when I wasn't necessarily feeling like I was still a professional. It was a month or 2 into after I had resigned from my last role, and in the perfect world, we're thinking, hey, I'm just going to bounce out of one job and find the perfect job in a couple months. But we had come up on summertime, and hiring season in corporate does tend to fluctuate and dwindle within that. And that's something I was aware of and knew that was coming. But you tend to get out of the mindset of working if you're not working. And that's sort of something where when you guys can swoop in and come in from the side and just really give me that assist, it helped keep me accountable, and helped keep my mind focused. And Lucy being on there and just helping manage that whole situation alongside yourself, Corey, really was beneficial, and kept the flow going. It really kept the flow going to something that if somebody were to take a lesser program than yours and they had a similar experience that I did, but without the proper management of this whole situation, it could become very messy for them. And I wouldn't suggest trying to find a budget option of this type of consulting program, because it's just not going to be in your best interest.
Well, when you talk about management, right? Like I was looking at your stats before, and you interviewed across a wider range of sectors and industries. In total, you had 31 interviews in total, including different rounds and stuff like that.
Wow. Yeah.
Did you source any of those interviews yourself?
That's a great question. And honestly, that was the team's effort right there. So you guys definitely brought those to the table, and those 31 interviews, your team really, really worked hard to do the outreach on and bring to my attention. And, every single one of them just came through, and, obviously every single one's not going to be a winner, but it was ones that your team worked hard for to put on the plate. So I was happy to go and really, use those interviews as practice, and really utilize them to build up my skills in interviewing, which is a skill in itself. But you guys sourced those interviews for me, and really, whether they were a role that I wasn't necessarily attached to from the beginning, they were roles that were valuable to bring in front of me. And, that's something that I would really like to sort of mention as well, is that even I remember a couple of those 31, I was feeling as though maybe they weren't as something I was aware of. I wasn't as aware of those segments as I would have potentially wanted to be, but going in and having those conversations, since there were so many that were coming through, became valuable, and was a value in its on its own, to be able to put myself in front of that many people that you guys brought to the table, and just get that practice in, even if something was a segment that I wasn't particularly knowledgeable about. I did my research beforehand, and I got myself into those, but you guys bringing that many to the table was invaluable for sure.
Love it. And okay, so let's talk about the exciting part, which is your offer. Yeah. Now, before we kind of have a look at what that looks like, did the team secure you the interview with your employer?
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
And tell me about that. What you came in, you got 31 interviews. You interviewed across multiple sectors, multiple industries.
Yeah.
And now you landed an offer. Can you give me a little bit of an overview of what that looks like? Where did you sign? Not the company, but what is your new title?
Yeah. So when I was interviewing for this company, with this company, they had they had asked me if I was open to two different potential roles within the company, and they were going to be interviewing me for both of them. One was a senior account executive role. The second was an enterprise level account executive role. I was obviously gunning for the enterprise account executive role, but up until the very end, when the offer was made, I was not told, that I wasn't privy to the decision-making process, but I went through 3 interviews and landed the enterprise account executive role at the end. It's the one that I wanted. It's the role that I wanted, that I had been working for throughout these interviews. And it was definitely, it's a company that I'm really, really stoked to dive into. And I think that I can make a mark within this segment that I'll be working in for sure.
And what sector is it in?
We're looking at corporate tech.
Okay.
Yeah.
So enterprise tech sales,
Yep.
Which is amazing. Is it remote?
It's 100% remote, and I can work from anywhere in the world I want to. I build out my own schedule with this one, and it's befitting of where I'd like to be at this current stage in my career, for sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So remote enterprise tech sales. So now we spoke before about your last role. You were making 72 base. What is your base now in this new enterprise tech role?
Yeah, so we're looking at 90 on this one, and that's just base. The company has a lot of perks. The OTE is legitimate. We've done our due diligence on this one, and thanks to you, Corey, as well, with you championing my holding true to my value. That's something that I was able to really negotiate into my pitch and essentially selling myself as an employee or a potential candidate for these roles and this role in particular. But I'm happy with that base, and I know a lot of people these days look at base sometimes as the be all end all. But when you're in sales or corporate sales, especially, you need to look at the big picture. And that's something that you helped me do along the way a lot, Corey, is look at the 1,000-foot overview instead of just, taking something and thinking more on a simple level with it when it comes to just base. But I'm very happy with the base, and it's something that is very encourageable, especially when you look at the OTE and the other perks that come alongside this.
I love it. So you increase your base salary just by making this move by $18,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not even including OTE potential. What do you predict for yourself in like year one and then year two in terms of OTE?
Well, year one, it's forecasted about 70% of my base will be OTE on top of that 90. So you do the math, but
yes. So 150, 160.
We'll do the math another time. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But you get the picture. You get the gist of it. It's going to be something where I always look to exceed my targets instead of just meet them, and it's something that I think everybody wants to do ideally. But if I'd exceed that 70%, it's uncapped. So we could be making base plus base for essentially at the end of the day 90 plus 90, and that's not including your quarterly bonuses, which they've offered out here, which are substantial every month. You also get a bonus if you meet your target, exceed your target, meet it. But then there's travel. There's tons of perks. They're sending me to actually Barcelona in November, which is a huge perk for me. Just be able to get on with a company and go travel the world.
I love it.
Automatically.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's interesting because I reviewed your offer, and one of the key things that stuck out to me was at the end of the offer, it says your office equals the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. It really is, because like for me, especially when you're looking for a new role, when you're out there and you're hustling and you're trying to get into these interviews and trying to make a good first impression over and over and over and over again, those situations can be stressful. But to finally be able to be placed into a role that is going to let me now expand my repertoire and get myself out of my house. I like my house, but I don't like it that much.
It is a nice house.
I like it, but I'd like to get out now and be able to, really working remote. You can be able to, especially if you're going to get into a company that can get a little traveling in there. That's going to be something that after this long hustle, it's going to make it even more worthwhile. And there are plenty of roles out there that are similar to the one that I've been hired onto, and that I've landed here with your help. And it's certainly an opportunity and an option for people out there that do want to incorporate travel and those aspects into their role and into their day-to-day within their prospective professions. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. And we're gonna wind this down soon. I just, are you happy you joined? Like, are you happy you came through and went through everything?
I don't know if happy would be the right word. I'm overjoyed with the whole process, Corey. I really am. I'm thrilled. I am so happy that I joined in with James University, because it's, without sounding cheesy, it's changed my life, and it's definitely become it's changed me in ways that professionally I present myself differently, and it's shown me my value when I had my own doubts about it, and so at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade this experience for the world, for sure. And those sound like easy things to say, but at the end of it all, it really is. It's been such a great experience, and I feel like anybody that's on the fence about joining or even getting involved, getting on the Discord, getting on the message boards, getting in there and just connecting with other people that are in the similar situation, just do it. It really is something that will be in your best interest. And I was one of those people that was sitting on the other side of this computer screen here, looking at some of the testimonials that you had, looking at your website, looking at your Instagram, and sitting there with a bit of uncertainty as to what, my own future holds, but let alone placing my future and some of the next steps in somebody else's hands, somebody that I'd never met before. And at the end of the day, it paid off in spades. And I sit here a different person than I was at the beginning of the program, and it's 100% worthwhile.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
I really appreciate that, brother. Well, no, we're happy to have you, and you're always welcome at James University. And thanks so much, Matt, for sitting down with us, both with me today. And we'll look forward to your onboarding and look forward to some pictures from Barcelona.
Definitely, of course. No, for sure. And thank you, Corey. And really, please let the rest of the team know how thankful I am to them as well. They all put in a ton of work into my profile and to keeping everything moving and keeping the momentum up. And it goes without saying that I'd be more than happy to keep in touch with you and the team for the rest of my professional career, as well as refer you to anybody in my close circle of family or friends.
Love that. That's so kind, Matt. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Bye.